Okay, this is Old Milwaukee. It's an American macro lager. It says it's brewed by the Silver Creek Brewery from La Crosse, Wisconsin. I find conflicting sources of information on the internet, though. I found Beer Advocate, and just through Google, looking up the Silver Cross Brewery, they make no mention of brewing this beer, which leads me to think this is actually just brewed under license for someone else, and it's not considered an official beer of their lineup. They just brew it on the side for who is it? Who owns it now? Pabst owns it now. It was first, I guess, it was first brewed by Joseph Schultz, bought out by Stroh, and Stroh was bought out by Pabst Blue Ribbon. So I think also Miller brews this under license. Someone here in Canada brews it under license too. Either Labatt or Molson, I imagine, one or the other, because it did first come out here in Canada a few years back. Oh, geez, about 10 years back now, I guess. And back then, it was actually pretty decent. I used to buy it quite frequently. Actually, it was pretty decent for a macro lager, just a drinkable macro lager. Quality changed just like that overnight, though, and I stopped buying it. I don't know what it was, but the quality just totally changed. I think we started getting in the American version or something like that. So, yeah, so, anyway, like I said, I've got conflicting sources of information on the internet about who brews it, when it was brewed, why it's brewed, etc., etc. If anyone knows the actual story on Old Milwaukee, feel free to leave a comment on the old board, or send a message to my inbox. Okay, as you can see, I already poured it. I've tried this review 3 times now. I fucked it up. Well, I fucked it up twice, and another time was just going too long. I'm going to try to shorten it up here a bit. So as I said, macro lager, it's 5% here. On the internet, it was telling me it was 4.6%. So that was obviously a different version. It's sort of a golden apple juicy kind of color, bordering on amber. The head was, when I first poured it, it was fairly thick. Kind of a typical thing with macro lagers. The head started to look really great. Dissipated quite quickly. Within a minute or two, it dissipated. Okay, so we're going to take a smell now. Okay, the interesting thing about this beer is, I'm going to get to the taste here too in a minute and make a similar comment, but the smell has settled. When I first opened the can and poured it, the smell was really off, some really off aromas. Kind of a stale sourdough bread kind of smell with metallic notes. I don't know what brought those on. Maybe it's because it's in the can. I don't know. Maybe there's preservatives in it or something. But it was a real off kind of flavor. It wasn't aroma. It wasn't really good. But now it's just sort of settled into a sort of a bland kind of bready kind of smell, grainy. Still a bit of the sourness that I detected, but it's not as bad as it was. So now we'll get to the taste now, and add some further comments onto that. Yeah, this beer, I'm just making a little joke here, but this beer improves with age. As in, the first couple sips are pretty goddamn rotten. The first couple sips is pretty bad. It's malt liquor bad. But after you get past the first initial few sips, the taste settles right out. It's just sort of a watery, grainy, typical macro lager taste after a while. When it first starts out, it's kind of a sour, bready, off-flavor, metallic taste to it. But after a few sips, after letting it sit in the glass for a few minutes, it sort of levels off, really. You don't notice it anymore. So that's an interesting phenomenon for this stuff. So that being said, I still can't really say it's all that great. I suppose I can give it a slight recommendation. I guess I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5, just because it isn't totally horrible. I mean, after you get past the first few sips, it's not totally horrible. And it does come in this friggin' awesome super big can, right? 710 milliliters, 210 more milliliters than standard tall boys. And after a while it just goes down really nice and smooth, watery kind of macro lager. If that's your thing, it's probably worth buying a couple cans. Bottles, I don't know if you want a 12 pack of this. That taste could probably creep back on you. But a couple cans, not bad, not bad. It's cheap as shit. Cheap beer. So it's got that going for it. It's got the big cans. It's got, the cans look like freaking artillery shells. I mean, come on, that's about what the size of them are. So yeah, you got the big cans. After the first few sips, it goes down super smooth, watery. It's cheap. It's a highly economical, cheap macro lager. Can't in all good conscience say it's a good beer, but it's decent for what it is. I guess it does a better job than, say, Budweiser or Coors even. Well, maybe not Coors, but it does do a better job than Budweiser anyway, and Corona and all those really shitty beers. So yeah, 2.5 out of 5 for Old Milwaukee.